More about that soon. First, here's a way you can help students who have less access to food during the pandemic. fromdebk promotes acts benefiting public school students. Through acts of any size, we honor the educator Deborah Kospchik, or Mrs. K as many called her. Following extensive work with adults with mental and physical disabilities, Mrs. K was a special education teacher at Pine Trails Elementary School in Allegan, Michigan. A tireless advocate for all, she gave food and comfort to students who could not obtain it elsewhere, continued informal education in her home throughout summers, and provided educational gifts to many. Stories can be offered by those who knew her for decades, as well as individuals who interacted with her for a few passing moments. She was an underdog who stood up for other underdogs. A breast cancer survivor, Mrs. K passed due to a pancreatic islet tumor at the young age of 53. In her memory, gifts have been sent to a variety of schools, including monetary donations and books. Many students absolutely rely on meals from schools. As schools closed, many students not only faced the pandemic, but hunger. So how can you help these students and honor Mrs. K? I promise we'll talk about cake soon. Chili's on Wheels provides meal shares, food demos, clothing drives, and so much more. Their model changed, however, as the pandemic came to be.
Groceries to individuals that request them. We are delivering them in all boroughs. We have about, right now, 130 families that we are serving weekly with groceries, all the way from Brooklyn, Queens, Manhattan, the Bronx. We also have these programs, this micro food pantry tables, so volunteers can set up a table in their neighborhood with food once a week, so the neighbors can come in and grab what they need. Also, it's a point where people can let us know if they need further support, and so a lot of the families that have been requesting come from that entry point of those micro food pantry tables. And we're continuing our hot meal shares in Tompkins Square Park every Saturday, and in Harlem every Friday. And we just started one in Sunnyside, Queens on Saturdays as well. And here we serve mostly people that are going through houselessness, but also just food insecure folks from the community that come by and need a hot meal.
Closing New York City schools came at a cost. Students were now faced without access to food. Chili's reacted directly.
Sometimes we see elementary school students coming by themselves, making that big line. They're hungry. Their families don't have food to put on their table. Unemployment benefits are taking long. So really the children are the ones who are suffering most from all of this. And it's really what spurred our food relief efforts.
Their efforts were based on the reaction of a few that wanted to make a difference. They put forth their own time, money, and efforts.
It has really been me and Michelle and Carla, it's not like a 20 person operation.
The experience reveals trying situations. Students have come alone to receive food. For example, a student with mental delays that was perhaps only 10 years old was initially hesitant.
And at first he didn't want to take it, and all he kept saying was stranger danger. And I kid you not, this is a person that definitely needs someone there with him to pick up food, right? He shouldn't be going on his own. And it took a little bit. The other volunteers were not sure how to deal with it. And I just started kind of naming the food that was in the bag. And then I just said, we have almond milk. And he got super excited about the almond milk. That kind of started our conversation. And I got to talk to him a little bit. And it turns out this is his favorite type of milk. And so I told him to come over and gave him a few more.
The student ultimately engaged with everyone there, felt a sense of community, and left with food they desperately needed. This is already a challenging time, only further compounded when navigated as a child. These needs extend into the summer and beyond. What makes Chili's unique is the food they provide.
All our meals are, of course, vegan, plant-based, and nutritious and delicious and healthy, and folks really appreciate that.
Chili's on Wheels largely provides familiar food, particularly fresh produce, which is unique to similar efforts. The food is simultaneously individually nourishing, great for animals, and for the planet. This connection is crucial in this time.
The systems that obviously through this pandemic we can clearly see how many holes are there, right? And mutual aid is kind of trying to fill those gaps. But liberation for all. So veganism as liberation praxis, I think, especially for communities that are poor, communities of color, communities that are the most affected by animal agriculture on all levels.
You may be passionate about a specific social justice movement, including great food access to all. Those that receive this food are empowered, eating in a way that benefits and respects everyone. The reception to their efforts has been nothing but grateful.
Within the hour of them receiving food, they send us this amazing text. It's just full on gratitude to be in that position of having to ask for food. It's challenging. Perhaps they've never had to do that before. Now there's a pandemic and they're pushed into something that even if they were struggling before, this is another level of struggle. So we receive these messages and I always kind of picture them like being just at ease that they have food to eat. I always say at your service, this is mutual aid, we're in community, to let people know that, hey, I'm one paycheck away from the same situation you're in, so we're just doing for each other.
Like Mrs. K, they believe in treating all living beings with kindness, empathy, and respect. This is the worst of times to turn away someone in need of assistance. To varying degrees, we have all had an interesting experience in this time, so the spirit of giving remains reciprocal. Those that contribute to the fundraiser are credited in the final announcement if they wish. Several contributors will be randomly selected for a variety of prizes appropriate to the times. 10 will receive audio meditation files, loopable files that include a singing bowl, as well as the sound just above and within a stream of water. One individual will receive a private virtual yoga class with Benjamin Byers, an American musician and yoga teacher based in Europe since 2013. Ben brings a candid, joyful, and precise approach to teaching, and through the influence of mentors both musical and spiritual, encourages others to integrate yoga and meditation into their daily lives. Did I mention cake? Director and writer Marissa Miller-Wolfson is known for her film Vegucated. She is also co-author of the forthcoming cookbook, The Vegucated Family Table. One lucky individual will receive a cake decorated with fresh flowers made by Wolfson. You may have known Mrs. K. Perhaps you live in NYC or Allegan, Michigan. Perhaps one of the many embedded social movements with this effort resonates with you. Maybe you love cake. Maybe, however, you don't fit those categories, and in the midst of a pandemic, it isn't clear why to contribute to this particular effort.
Hopefully, if there's something good that comes out of this, is realizing that, on a global scale, we are a community. I think we separate each other constantly all the time. And with Chili's on Wheels, when we do outreaches, for Michelle, it has always been very important from the beginning that we are in community versus coming into the community and doing a service and then leaving.
This isn't a giant corporation. It's individuals that see need and are doing something about it. It's planting seeds that do have broad reach and empower everyone involved. It's you realizing you can make a very serious difference right now.